Welcome back, everyone. I'm Bailey.
And I'm Raquel.
And this is the Whole Shebang Podcast. All right, welcome back, everyone. Today's episode is story time. Bailey gets confused. And we will go over why I get confused.
So we have two recent stories of things that occurred within the last couple months. And they involve mostly you doing very strange and confusing things.
I have learned a very valuable lesson in these past 2 months.
Yeah, and it's important that we share this lesson.
Yes, I am going to say right off the bat, always read labels on things.
Yeah, who would have thought?
Yeah, not something I thought to do at all. But anyway, do you wanna get started on how you found out I got confused?
Sure. So I was actually at a meeting with a professor that I was working for, and I received a text from you saying, I screwed up. And now that could be literally anything, because this is not the first time I've received a text like that. So then you asked if you could call me, and I said, sure, but I'm in a meeting. Give me like an hour. And then when I got home, I called you and asked what happened, and you told me, I think I'm going to die.
So in Canada, if you don't know, weed is legal.
Uh-huh.
And I had went to take some. And it was not the dose that I had thought I was taking. Because I had ordered some, and they said, oh, congratulations on ordering your drugs. Here's some extra drugs. So they sent me a mystery pack. And I thought, oh, okay, cool. I'm going to take one. We're going to have a nice night. I had some friends coming over. My girlfriend was coming over. We were all going to sit, and we were going to watch anime together. I was just like, it's 2:30 in the afternoon. I'm just going to take the edge off. So I'm going to pop one of these. Should be cool. Should be good. Didn't think there was a lot in there.
Should specify I was living out of town at this time, so I could not actually physically be here, so I got the amusing long-distance phone call.
Yes. So I took the drugs, and then about an hour and a half, it was 2:30, around 3:30, it started to kick in.
Mm-hmm.
And if you've ever taken an edible weed gummy, you know that they do take a while to kick in, and the high lasts forever.
And you don't usually take weed gummies because you're not a huge fan of it.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan. I was just looking, it was some days off, it was getting busy, I was just looking for something to take the edge off. So I'm like, I'll take a weed gummy just to relax. And so yeah, around 3:30 it started kicking in.
I think that's when I got the first text, was around 3:30.
Yeah, I think that is when you got the first text. And I was like, oh, this is hitting a little different. This is not what I was expecting. Because usually when it hits me, I'm kind of just like, oh, okay, mellow out on the couch.
Yeah, so I received the message at 3:30.
At 3:30, the weed had started to hit me a little differently, and I was not expecting it to. It started as like a full body high, which I was just looking to take the edge off and was not expecting that. So I went to check the packaging. And so as I'm checking the packaging...
Because Genius doesn't check the packaging before she puts it in her body.
I just thought it was what I always took. So I went and I checked the packaging. And I'm like, yeah, this is the dose I usually take.
It was not.
It was not. Usually the dose I take is...
Much smaller.
Much, much smaller. Then I realized how much I took.
And how much did you consume there, Bailey?
I took 100 milligrams of weed.
Yeah.
And I do believe my search history
was hysterical.
That point on was me trying to figure out how to get unhigh.
And whether or not you were going to die.
And spoiler, you can't get unhigh. Once you're high with edibles, you're high. And it had been too long. I couldn't puke these up. I couldn't do anything like that. Yeah. So I had to suffer. And I did. I thought I was going to die. My heart felt like it was bleeding out of my chest. So here's just a warning. Never take drugs without reading the label. Even weed, if you aren't accustomed to doing large amounts of it, don't do it. It's not fun. It's not a fun time.
Yeah, you learned the hard way.
I did. I learned the hard way. And the thing is I can hardly remember what
Any
I
of it.
did that
It was
day.
pretty good.
It was, yeah.
Do you remember telling me that your heart felt like it was bleeding out of your body?
I do remember that bit.
Okay, and you were freezing cold?
I remember shivering a lot, but you said that I kept forgetting that you were on the phone.
Yeah, so after I got home, I called her and she said, this is what I've done, which was pretty funny for me, but I was a little concerned about her well-being. And she says, I just need someone on the phone with me because I'm very paranoid that I'm going to die. And I was like, you'll be fine. So we were talking and she kept asking me if she had fed the dogs. And I said, well, did you feed the dogs before? She says, yeah, I did. And then 5 minutes later, she said, did I feed the dogs? So I'm pretty sure you never fed the dogs.
It's fine. They are well fed normally, and one night was not going to kill them.
Plus, we had friends coming over, so they would have noticed the dogs were starving. So I
Thankfully.
think maybe you did feed them. I don't know. I don't know what was going on.
I can't remember. You said I let them out multiple times.
Multiple times.
And I can only remember letting them out once.
There was one time in particular where you were just standing outside shivering and then yelling at one of them to go poop. And then I said, this is really funny because it's kind of like our normal phone calls. And you screamed because you forgot I was on the phone and I was talking out of your pocket.
Yeah, I mean, I do remember I was pacing my house.
Yes.
Just because I thought, oh, maybe if I exercise, it'll bring it down. Like, it'll make it work through faster. I was eating everything too. I took shots of lemon.
Does that help?
I don't know. Google said.
Okay, Google.
Google said shots of lemon. So I took I opened the bottle of lemon juice I had in my fridge and I started drinking the lemon juice. Just straight, no water.
Ew.
I was trying to get this thing to end.
You were pretty panicked.
I was pretty panicked. But you know what? Thankfully, we did have, like, my friend was coming over later that night and my girlfriend was coming over. So hopefully...
Shout out to our other friend. We're not going to name her by name. She knows who she is.
She knows who she is. Thank you.
She works in nursing, which was kind of comforting for me to know that you had medical staff coming over.
I was just happy someone was coming over, so if I did in fact die, the dogs and the cat would be taken care of.
Well,
like they wouldn't be left in the house alone.
Yeah, I told you to text her just to give her fair warning. And you forgot to text her. You opened your phone and said, what am I doing again?
Yeah, I kind of remember doing that because I remember looking at my phone and then being super confused as to what I was doing.
So then I had to text her for you. And then you texted your girlfriend to also warn her. And I also offered to do that for you because I did not trust whatever was going to come out of your mouth.
I do remember reading it back to you.
Multiple times. I think about 5 or 6 times. You're like, does this sound if I'm too high or is this just fine? And I was like, it's fine. And then I had to confirm that you did send it.
Yeah, and I did. I actually sent both, although our one friend did not receive the text.
Yeah.
She had said, oh, well, thankfully, Ricky had texted me because I would have had no idea what I was walking into.
Yup.
I would have been like, surprise!
So you were lying on the couch, you were shivering, you were texting, and then you said, oh yeah, I've been looking this up on Google a lot, and I asked you to read to me your search history, because in the middle of this complete panic about the amount of marijuana you consumed was the search board games.
Yeah, I have it here, my search history.
Oh, yeah, 'cause I told you to take a screenshot, which you forgot about doing until I reminded you the next day.
Yes, and apparently I was listening to you while I was high. You were God to me.
The voice in your head.
The voice in my head, literally. I did. I took a screenshot. And so my search history goes 100 milligram of weed gummies. How to stop being high AF. How to get rid of weed hangover. I'm too high and freaking out. Board games. That was important, apparently. Tutu Quell weed gummies. And milligram abbreviation, because I thought, well, shoot, maybe I read the abbreviation wrong and I had taken, like, grams instead of milligrams.
I feel like that would have been more noticeable.
I think I actually would have died.
I think so too, yeah.
I know people say that you can't die from weed overdose, but I have also seen people put in the hospital for weed overdose.
Yeah.
The night went good. My friend came. She nursed me back to health. Ricky stayed on the phone with me.
Until our friend came over.
Until our friend came over, which thankfully...
Wasn't too long. It was only about an hour.
Yeah, it was only about an hour, thankfully. So I was able to have other people there because when I do take excessive amounts of weed, which I don't like to do for the exact reason I'm going to say, is I get super paranoid.
Yeah, it was fun.
Not for me.
It was great for me.
Those disappeared out of my house so fast.
Yeah, we talk about this a lot because it was really funny.
Yeah. They disappeared out of my house because as soon as that was over and I was back to normal, I have another acquaintance of mine that is an avid pot smoker. And so I'm like, here, take these.
Take them away.
Take them away. I want nothing to do with them anymore. I'm totally done. They are not my thing.
It was a good day.
Yeah,
Once I knew you were safe, I was like, okay, this is just funny.
I just wanted it to be the next day. I couldn't even remember ordering pizza.
Oh, yeah, I remember our friend told us this story multiple times, that you kept asking her if she had ordered food yet.
And she had been at my house for literally 2 seconds.
And then you started falling asleep on the couch.
I did. I started falling asleep, and I can't remember anything that we watched.
Yeah. Yikes.
I felt so guilty. And I remember asking my girlfriend at the end of the night, too, can you just stay and make sure I let the dogs back in? Because I think I'll forget. Thankfully, bless her, she's amazing. And she was like, of course, I could stay.
And the next day was kind of a funny text, too, of, I survived.
I survived. I'm alive.
But you still felt absolutely awful.
Oh, I did. I felt horrible.
Yeah, that was a good day.
That was a day. So, as we talk about this, we understand that people have their own opinions on weed and their own personal feelings. So I thought we could go into a little bit of our personal feelings about, or our perspectives on weed and what exactly we think of it.
Yeah, I am not someone who partakes in substances. I very rarely drink alcohol. I have never drank... One time I drank enough alcohol to actually be drunk, and that was at a friend's wedding with Bailey. And there was a lot of champagne, which is a story for another day. But no, I don't partake in any sort of substance, really. So for me, weed is just a no-go. But my brother is an avid user, and he worked at a dispensary as well. So I kind of am engrossed in the weed culture, but I'm not a participant. And so I don't know, you do you.
Yeah, weed is, obviously I have drank before. It's parties and stuff. I'm usually a social drinker. I don't drink just to drink. And for the weed, I will say I am a big fan of taking it to take the edge off. Mm-hmm. But
only a very small dose.
Only a very small dose, and usually only if I'm not working the next day, like I have my weekend.
And you do edibles, not like actually smoking it, right?
Yeah, I don't actually smoke it, I just do the edibles. But after this trip, I think I am swearing off the edibles. That lasted way too long, and I can't trust it.
Yeah, that's fair.
I can't trust it.
Well, if you read the back of the packaging and actually realized what you were consuming, then you wouldn't have had this problem.
Yeah, that would have been helpful.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been really helpful. Lesson learned. I did end up telling my father about this little escapade of mine.
I mean, your mom might know now. She's listening in.
I doubt she's listening.
Shout out to your mom. She's listening.
Mom, I swear, it's just a story, Mom. It's just a story. But yeah.
He made fun of you, didn't he? Your dad.
Yeah, he was concerned. He was concerned at first, but it's fine. I mean, my perspectives on weed is if you are going to enjoy it responsibly.
Yeah.
And if you do get to the point where where you are paranoid and you did maybe take too much.
Maybe a little too much.
Maybe a little too much. Great things would be to talk to your friends.
Hi, that's me.
It will end eventually, because if you were like me and you're a paranoid person, sitting down and watching a TV show when you think you were going to die,
no, it doesn't work.
It doesn't work. So talking to your friends, if they can come over, that's even better.
If you're really concerned, go to the hospital.
Yeah, if you're really concerned, go to the hospital. there's never a wrong time to go to the hospital with that. But yes, please just be responsible when you do take substances like that.
Or you'll learn the hard way like Bailey did.
Or you'll learn the hard way.
Great story to tell on a podcast, though.
Yeah. Yeah, hope you all enjoyed that one. That's Never Doing Weed Again story.
And then we have another story, just to give you a kind of, this is our fun episode, really, of story time, something you can look forward to in the future, too. But someone decided to book something for the first time. What did you book, Bailey?
I booked for the first time a Brazilian wax.
And have you ever done any sort of waxing in your down there regions?
Not in my nether regions,
No.
but on my legs, yes. I have waxed my legs before.
Should have given a warning, TMI, for some people who might be our friends. Sorry about this.
But
If your mom's listening.
Mom, stop listening now. You should have stopped listening when you read the name of the podcast, okay?
It's a little too late.
Yeah, a little too late. But so, yes, I did decide to get my first Brazilian wax, and I thought I would share my own thoughts and opinions because I watched countless videos and read countless things before I went in to go and get one.
You were weirdly nervous about it and yet determined at the same time because we were on the phone while you were booking.
Yes, and apparently I was booking a wax in Fiji.
Yeah, because Google thought you were in Fiji.
Google did. Google, I wish I was in Fiji.
I have a beautiful quote from that day that says, "Why are we in Fiji?" Question mark.
Hey, at least I wasn't high at the time. Could you imagine?
Booking a Brazilian high?
I would have regretted everything in my life.
You did talk about it while you were high.
I did, actually. I'm pretty sure that's where the idea came from. It opens the subconscious. Anyway. So I had decided to get this done. And so I was going through the website to book. It kept on putting me to Fiji, so every time I thought I had gotten the appointment booked, it would put me back, and they're like, in this one, in Fiji, yes? And it's like, no.
That left me looking up flights to Fiji, which are pretty expensive, actually, from here.
I mean, travel. Let's go. I can go get wax there, too.
You could, yeah.
Probably have pretty good wax. But so anyway, I booked this waxing, and I was pretty sure that you and all of our other friends thought I wasn't going to do it.
Yeah, definitely.
I thought you guys were thinking that I was going to chicken out before I went.
Yeah, because it was funny.
Yeah, but I was like, no. I was determined.
You kept saying, if I can get tattoos, I can get a waxing.
Exactly. And so I went. I went to go get the wax. And you know what? It was lovely. It was fine. Okay. It wasn't lovely in terms of you are going in front of a stranger and pulling your pants down.
You're not an exhibitionist, huh?
I'm not. No, that is too much for me. However, if you get someone who goes in and is business like usual, it feels normal.
Yeah, they're very professional.
They're very professional. If I had someone come in and want to like small talk with me while I have my pants down, I'd be like, no, thanks. I can't do this.
I think we didn't think you were going to do it just because of how awkward the situation was. Like, it had nothing to do with potential pain. It was just such a weird thing to be doing.
Okay, but here's the other little thing. They had a creamsicle scented ingrown hair oil that you could put on afterwards.
Did it actually smell like creamsicle?
It smelled like creamsicle.
Oh, weird.
And the name of this stuff is hilarious. It's called Bush Balm. I have Bush Balm that smells of creamsicles.
I didn't need to know that.
I'll let you sniff it later.
I don't want to sniff it later.
Are you sure?
I'm sure.
It smells like creamsicles.
I'm good.
But it was nice. Okay, so if I go in and people who are wondering about the wax, the pain. That's one of the main things people have said.
Yep.
I would consider myself having a pretty high pain tolerance.
Yeah, I think so.
So I labeled it a 3 out of 10.
And what about your tattoo on your arm? What would you label that?
After 4 hours, that's probably like a 6 out of 10.
Okay.
But for my tattoos, it's not so much the tattooing that I hate at the end of it.
It's like the swelling feeling after, yeah.
Oh, it's the paper towel.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I hate the paper towel on tattoos.
That's
really
fair.
wish.
I really hate when they go over the same spot.
Yeah. I mean, my tattoo artist, was doing one of my tattoos and she had wiped it with a paper towel, but this time the paper towel had stuff on it. It was wet.
Yeah.
And it was cold and it felt amazing. And I looked at her and I said, "What is on that paper towel?" She's like, "Soap and water." I was like, "That's amazing. Do it again."
Yeah, my tattoo artist now uses a numbing spray after the first round, which has made it so much easier to sit through a 4 to 5 hour tattoo.
Yeah. But yeah, compared to the tattoo, the waxing was way less. It was over in less than like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So I didn't consider it too bad.
Was it awkward?
No.
No.
No, I even had her check for ingrown hairs.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it wasn't awkward. I mean, Brazilians are Brazilians. But yes, so for pain, 3 out of 10. I would recommend if you are scared, it'll be okay. If you're nervous about taking your pants off in front of a stranger, most estheticians,
They've seen worse.
they've seen everything. Everything under the sun.
I'm sure. I'm sure there's some great stories on Reddit.
Oh, probably. But yes, highly recommend going and getting that done. Do not book a waxing when you're high.
Yeah.
Or,
Or do. I don't know.
Or
Maybe
do.
if that's your thing.
if it's your thing, maybe. But, yeah, I don't know. I liked it. I recommend it.
Are you going to go back?
Definitely.
Oh. Are you going to see the same woman?
Yep.
You liked her?
Yeah.
Okay.
She was no nonsense. Just in, out, done.
Yeah.
They do have some deals where you can go in for like $25 and get it done by a trainee.
A trainee, yeah.
But I know someone who did have that done. And she said she was in there for like an hour and a half.
Oh, gosh, no.
Because they don't know exactly what they're doing. And they do need people to learn on, obviously.
Yeah.
But no, that's not for me.
Remember when you were booking, there were 2 people you could pick from, and you kept going back and forth between the 2.
I thought one was a guy. They had a guy's name.
They had a mutual name,
Yeah, okay, they had a mutual name.
but one that's more often male.
I'm not risking it, but
I can't imagine a man becoming a waxer, but maybe that is a thing. I don't know. I'm very uninformed. If you're a male waxer, let us know.
Yeah, if you're a male waxer, let us know. And are you allowed to work on female patients?
Like their genitalia, not just...
Yeah. Like for Brazilians and stuff like that. Because apparently there are things called manzillions
There are, yeah.
where men can have them done. I had read a few Reddit stories about estheticians going in and doing the manzillions, and they were very uncomfortable doing them. But I'm wondering, do men who are estheticians, do they do manzillions? Are they allowed to do, or do they do both? Can they do both?
I think they'd be allowed to do women, but I think it's the preference of the patient. Patient.
Yeah, air quotes. We're air quoting.
Consumer.
Yeah, because I would say I don't know if I would feel comfortable going in and having
A man.
a man. But I mean, if you think about it, like if you go to a doctor,
Yeah.
you go into your doctor and your doctor may be male, female, and
Non-binary.
non-binary. They gotta do what they gotta do. They've seen it all. Yours isn't anything special.
I don't know. I feel like I would be weird with a male gynecologist.
I don't know if I would be.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like, also like a midwife, like a male midwife.
I think in terms of that, especially for childbirth and stuff, having a female midwife would be preferable. They've done the same thing.
It is an
Maybe, right?
interesting perspective on gender here.
Yeah.
This is not where we thought this was going, but
No,
this is where it went.
This is not where we thought it was going, but this is where it went. Yeah, I'd have a male gynecologist.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not having kids, so I would never need a midwife.
No, I know, but just in general.
Nothing against male doctors, but all the male doctors I've had have been a little bit more dismissive.
Oh, I've had problems with women doctors too. They're not great all the time.
But I will say the only doctor that ever listened to me about my vertigo and my headaches were a male doctor.
Likewise.
Yeah. All the other ones are just like, yeah, maybe you didn't drink enough water today.
Oh, I hate getting told that. Or you're just stressed.
You're just stressed. Oh, great. I'm stressed all the time. Is there a way to stop that, actually?
We went down some really serious roads right now.
Yeah.
This was supposed to be a fun episode. Sorry, everybody.
Sorry.
We could talk a lot about women's health.
Oh, yeah. So if you guys do want to hear about women's health, but yeah, let us know what you guys want to hear. We would love to do more stories.
We have a lot of stories.
We have a lot, but if you are liking the more serious, I don't even think it's a debate.
No, it's not a debate. It's fact.
No, between like the male and the female.
Oh, that debate. I was like,
yeah, that debate.
The fact that women's health is very understudied and not cared for, that's fact.
If you want to hear more debating type topics, especially a little bit deeper between the what would we rather have kind of thing, male or female.
Yeah, because we have
doctors.
a silly debate planned for the future.
Yeah, but I wouldn't mind more serious ones.
No, and we do have some serious down-to-earth topics eventually. We're trying to keep it light in the beginning.
We do want to hear from you guys and know what you want to...
What do you want to hear?
Yeah, what do you want to hear? We're kind of just winging it. We actually really like doing the podcast so far. I mean, we're on episode 2 recording.
Yeah, and we have a lot of a variety, so we're curious, especially after the first year, what is a hit and what's a miss.
Yeah, so let us know. What's your hits? What's your miss? And if you have any topics that you do want to hear us talk about...
Put them in the Discord.
Put them in the Discord.
Our next episode is going to be centered on our friendship, where we tell you some stories from our past. Maybe we'll also get into a weirdly serious debate without meaning to again. So we're just going to talk about how we met, which we thought would be a great kind of introduction really into our friendship.
Yeah, and kind of what you're getting to deal with us, because...
Know what you're in for.
Know what you're in for.
And then we'll talk about some of our adventures we mentioned a little bit in our trailer, the road.
Yeah, we'll talk about the road next episode.
Talk about why we were going on that trip in the first place.
Which may have been Bailey also didn't read signs.
Who would have thought? There's a theme here.
There's a theme.
So yeah, look forward to that coming out in the next 2 weeks.
So cheers, guys. Thanks. That's all for today. Catch us on Instagram, where we drop teasers for the next show, and our Discord account. Links are down below.